been known to be a person that resists good advice from my mother. I'm sure I'm not the only one. My mom, for years, I would say at least the last 4 or 5 years or so, has brought up Toastmasters in some conversation, in some way, shape, or form, because she went to some district event where she lives in Alabama and thought, this would be the thing for you to do, Valerie. And I was like, I don't need Toastmasters. I've been doing public speaking for many years. That's not necessary. What was fascinating was several years later, I left the company that I worked for, and I decided to start my own company as a professional speaker and a leadership coach. And at the time, I knew that I needed to find my voice. I needed to find the content that would really connect with not only what I wanted to share because of my skill and abilities, but also what I felt was needed in leadership. And I couldn't figure out exactly what the cadence or the structure would be of how to create all this content. And so the words, the wisdom of my mother came to bear, and I decided to look into Toastmasters. I actually went to several different clubs. I think that was an important step because I got to see the different personalities in the different clubs, different cultures within each club. And what was really special for me was when I found the club, and the club was Lennox International. Shout out to Lennox. We had such a fun time because there was so much friendship and community within the club, but there was also very clear structure. We started and ended our meetings on time. There was a push to make sure that people were actually participating fully in all the roles. And what I ended up finding the best value for me in that club was building content that I could then use in my business. And that was one of the main reasons I joined Toastmasters. So I don't often tell my mom that she's right, but she was right. So I'm really glad that I listened to her advice 5 years later. And then in my experience within the club, as I continue to build content for myself, content that I use for my coaching, content that I use for workshops, I've gotten some immediate feedback, which is wonderful because not only do I have the opportunity to tweak and change things as needed, but I can see the impact it would have on people. And if it's the desired impact, and I can maximize that advice in ways that I probably wouldn't if it just stuck in my head and decided to do it with a paying audience. So that's been phenomenal. The portion of leadership in Toastmasters, I think, is undersold. I find that not only having a role in the club leadership is important, but even the members of the club, the opportunity to actually set up a meeting, the opportunity to lead portions of the meeting, the opportunity to give feedback to members of the meeting are all natural leadership skills that we use in every area of life. One of the things that I've committed to myself in being a leader in any capacity within the club that I'm in or the clubs that I visit is that I'm going to experiment. I'm going to use it as a leadership laboratory. What that looks like is when I have the opportunity to lead a certain portion of the meeting, I think of how can I make this creative? How can I make this fun? How can I stretch myself to do it in ways that I've never done it before? And that gives me an opportunity to really dig deep and find parts of myself that I can express through organization. I also find that it's fun to really engage the club members in different ways, whether that's engaging them and having them take a deep breath and do a little meditation before our meeting, or perhaps if they want to acknowledge someone, they do it through snaps or high fives, you name it. I really find that it's a lot of fun to let myself get swept up in the laboratory aspect of leadership. And it helps me in my career and also those that I support in theirs. I'm really thankful for Toastmasters and District 50 for having given me this opportunity to learn, grow with them, and to provide that for others.